With Dave Canellis and the Carolina Panthers coming off of their bye and entering into week number 12, the Panthers hope to increase its playoff chances and inching closer to a possible division title as they welcome in the defending champs. Want to find out what the keys to the game are? Stay tuned to find out on Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, all you prowlers. Thank you so much for joining us yet again. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo here, welcoming you all back for another awesome edition as we have another new growler, but yet again, they did not put their name down in the comments. Guys, I have to let you know, please put your name down if you're subscribing. If you enjoy the content, please put your name down. I still got a shirt to create, you guys. Please let me know. I need to know who these wonderful people are. I want to put you in the drawing that we are going to have. I can't do that if you guys are not going to do that. I want all of you to have an opportunity at the Growlin' and Prowlin' shirt. But thank you so much if you are subscribing. Please, if you are a subscriber, and we're going to do a show. Once I get the shirt designed, I'm going to give you guys a 2-week notification to put your names down in there because I've tried to keep tabs on and I've only got 35 of you guys out of 103 subscribers. So if you guys want a shot at the Growlin' and Prowlin' shirt, please make sure the next couple of weeks that you're putting your name down there, even if you've already subscribed, guys, if you're watching the content, please put your name down in the comments so I can add you to the list and make you a spot where we can draw. Just want to give a big growl out to my daughter. She turned 2 years old. Happy birthday. Daddy loves you, baby. But let's get into it, you guys. Let us growl about the wonderful Carolina Panthers and what they did during the off time. Guys, I'm going to say it like this. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about, now I know a lot of you are going to say, stop dreaming. I am not going to say stop dreaming because whether you guys know it or not, we are 3 games out of the division lead. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 games out of the division league, ladies and gentlemen. Because the Atlanta Falcons, as many of you do not know, they are slumping horribly. As we are on the verge of, yes, we are still in the cellar, but the Saints have a bye week. And the Falcons also have a bye week, but they are 6-5. We have an opportunity to make up possibly 2 games on the Falcons, given the fact that they've played 11 games. And as I said, the Saints, as well as the idea that we have the Falcons in the season finale, you guys. We have them in the finale, and now they're going to probably get a gimme with the Raiders, and I'm not even going to say that they're going to get a gimme with the Raiders. The Raiders are a team that could very well sneak up on them. But guys, looking at the Falcons schedule, they've got the Chargers, the Vikings, the Commanders. That's 3 games right there, and you could argue the Raiders that could beat them, and then you've got us. They could very well go 2-3, and put us back in position to win this division. Now, ultimately, there are going to be a few factors that come into play. Now, they've already finished with the Buccaneers for the season, and they swept the Buccaneers, surprisingly. And they're done with the Saints, and they split with the Saints. So, the beautiful thing is, if the Falcons take care of their business, which is losing 3 out of 5, that puts them in a statistical tie that puts us one game over them with one game to play. Now, realistically, with the schedule that we have, now I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you have to play, or you have to hope the Buccaneers, whom are just like the Falcons, they're up and down. They're very much up and down, you guys. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, you're asking a lot. No, I'm actually not asking a lot, because yes, we do have Philly. Yes, we have Tampa Bay. And of course, we got Kansas City this week. But we do have Dallas, Arizona, and Tampa Bay, and of course, Atlanta at the end. Now, our schedule's not exactly easy, but it's not absolutely unwinnable. Now, everybody's going to say going to Philly and winning is impossible. I disagree. Our offensive line has really come together considerably. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, the offensive line is absolutely gelling, considering that we've got Cade Mays bouncing in and out of the center position. Now we're going to come, Aquano's questionable, but they're saying he's trending towards playing. So is Tommy Tremble. And the beautiful thing about it is could you imagine how much better this offensive line is going to get with Christensen back in the lineup and possibly Aquano back in the lineup? This is huge business that we're talking about. And then you talk about Jonathan Brooks possibly playing. I don't see him doing very much this week, but I do think his explosiveness against this Kansas City, defense is going to be huge. But we'll get to that. But into the division, you guys. Everybody in the division has some serious issues. Like we said, the Tampa Bay, we have a chance to take care of our own business with Tampa Bay, in regards to Tampa Bay, because we've already beaten the Saints. And we have to go back and look at every team in the division when we start talking about the divisional aspects of where we are. The division is, you've got the Buccaneers have the Chargers remaining, and of course they've got us twice on the mark, and then you've got New Orleans who's starting to wake back up. So you're looking at a situation where it's a race to get to that division title, whereas the Bucs are in just as bad a position as we are. This was a team that was arguably at the top of the division at one point. Now they're 4-6. And doesn't look like there's any help on the horizon. Mike Evans is still hurt. Now, we already know what the Bucs are capable of if Mike Evans is on the field with Baker Mayfield. Now, and guys, and you don't want to hear this, but what Baker's doing is a tribute to what we have as ownership and leadership, and that's got to change. But then we also look at the Saints, whom we have split with as well. They've got a matchup left with the Buccaneers, so hopefully this is going to be one of those matchups where you look at and you say, who do we want to have this? But then the Saints, at the end of the day, they have the Rams, they have the Commanders, Packers, and of course all of us have the Raiders still. To me, this is a no-brainer when it comes to the Saints. Now, we already know we can't control what the Saints do, but what we would like to do, we would love for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to drop one of these games, and especially we would love for them to drop to the Saints in the finale. And because right now the Saints have a favorable schedule that would basically say, okay, they're going to lose at least 3 more games. It depending on what the Giants are capable, because the Giants have a deceptively good defense, regardless of what anybody says. And they're just a Derek Carr injury away from this not being a easy pickings to deal with. And as I said, this division is wide open. Now, a lot of you are going to say, why are we talking division just because we're not going to win? I disagree. And I want to throw you guys a bone, because the Baltimore Ravens, if you guys watch my All Access NFL channel, Gridiron Gab Pro Style, it's on YouTube. Bruh. And I don't understand why the Baltimore Ravens just don't run. Guys, when you can run the football and do it at the pace that we're doing it right now, here's the thing, guys. We have a dominant offensive line when it comes to run blocking. Now, I'm not going to say it's so much pass blocking, but I will honestly tell you, in my eyes, Looking at the way this team is done, if Dave Canellis would have dialed in like an old school 2000 Ray Lewis type running football team, the Panthers would arguably be at the top of this rushing list, you guys. I mean, we look at this team and we say, okay, they've got 1,100 yards rushing on the year, which is the middle of the road, y'all. Can you believe it? This is a team that is at the bottom, averaging 4.6 yards a tote. This makes no sense. This is why I am such a huge skeptic of Dave Canellis, because here's the reality. The games in which, everybody will say, well, there were games we were out of it. No. There were games that we were there were games that we were in it, and you just decided, hey, I'm just going to stop running it. Oh, because the momentum is shifting. Chuba Hubbard's got 818 yards on the season. And he's busted 620-plus yarders. Now, he hasn't busted a 40-yarder like Saquon's. He's busted 4 of them. And Derrick Henry's busted 3. But he's busted 6 plays of 20 yards. I don't think we had a play of 20 yards. I think we were dead last. We were like dead last. Yeah. And here's the issue here. When you start talking about teams that are going to win championships, you have to have those big games. And what's scary is if you guys check out my all access Gridiron Gab Pro Style, you'll see the teams that run the ball well, when they go away from that, the results tend to not be very good. I would want you to check that out, because I really go in depth about how the Ravens are probably not going to win the Super Bowl. But I'm looking at us and I'm thinking, there's one thing that we need to do better, and that's set up plays where Bryce Young can use his legs. And I'm not talking about rollouts or bootlegs. I'm talking about a new wave that could take the NFL by storm, which is learning how to block scheme where your quarterbacks can go off script. Because we looked at I looked at Joe Burrow on Sunday night, and then I compared him to a lot of the throws that Bryce made. Bryce is the same type of quarterback. When he can step through or he can make plays with his feet, he creates many more dynamic plays. And I'm going to be honest with you, that is a large majority of quarterbacks. When they can step through, make plays, and extend plays, and get guys open. To me, that I thought when we had Jonathan Mingo, that was huge. He's a guy that is a lot like Xavier Legette, but I know you guys don't want to hear about Mingo. I like Mingo. And as I said, I think he's going to do good things with Dak when he gets back next year. Y'all wait and see. But I think we need to be more creative with Bryce. I don't think leaving him in the pocket is the answer. I don't know if we're ready for that. I think we need to continuously use the advantage of Chuba Hubbard in this running game. Keep teams off balanced. I think ultimately that is where our passing game is going to be at its strongest. As I said, I think we need to go out and get T. Higgins in either free agency or trade for him. See whatever the Cincinnati Bengals want to do. I would stay in close contact. Find out what they want to do. If their asking price for is too high, do we risk giving them what they want so he doesn't hit the open market? We got to see where we're at. I think ultimately, if we get T. Higgins, I don't care what any of you say, T. Higgins changes the course of the team. Reason being, and I was listening to 99 The Fan, I can't remember who it was, but he said, T. Higgins, we don't have a true number one. And everybody's like, can Legette do that? Look, 4 years with 4 years with T. Higgins, we can get us a number one. We can develop a number one. But we got to be willing to pay this guy anywhere from $25 to $30 million. With Bryce being on his 4th year, his 5th year option, and finally his first big year if we decide to go that route, which I don't think Bryce will. I think Bryce will end up being the guy that says, okay, I gave you guys 2 horrible years, especially if he turns out to be who he is. And who we think he can, who some of us think he can be. I gotta give a lot of you fans growl outs, because a lot of you are still believing in Bryce. I believe in him. And the reality of it is he can still be great. But ultimately, you get a T. Higgins. What eventually starts to happen is this guy definitely starts building a type of confidence. But what you got to do is you're going to have to work the system. And I know a lot of you out there going to say, well, we're going to pay no $30 million for no wide receiver. Well, guess what? You're going to have to decide. And let's keep it in perspective. The Kansas City Chiefs are good because they pick and pay their spots. They pick, pay their spots. We have to do the same thing. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, won't let it be a wide receiver. Well, here's the thing. How do you make a wide receiver? How do you make a quarterback better? You get him a prime time target and then see what he does. I don't think it's too much to ask. If we don't do nothing but give Higgins a 3-year deal, 3 years, $90 million. Because guess what? You got Bryce's third year, his contract year, 5th-year option.
Is this a hypothetical question?
You could even take that first year and say, okay, we're going to franchise tag you.
Outstanding.
You could do that. But ultimately, I feel like we have a great opportunity to do some things and get into the playoffs. All of the teams that we've talked about have opportunities to lose out. A lot of you are going to say, well, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Maybe not, but guess what? It's not. How many times has the best team, when the Giants won their 2 rings, were they the best team in the league? Don't tell me yes, they were. No, they were the hottest team. There was one year the Giants weren't even a playoff team. They weren't in the playoffs the last, 4 or 5 weeks of the year? Was it 4 or 5 weeks? And they got hotter than a bonfire in December. Listen, it could happen. And listen, the way DJ Wanham came out, I'm telling you, this is a dude that looks hungry, y'all. DJ Wanham looks hungry. I'm telling you, that win last week, no matter who it was against, a lot of people are going to say that y'all are crazy. You got 2 games that you're not going to win. Okay, let's dig into this one. We got the world champs coming to town who just got beat by a Buffalo Bills team. Now, if you're like me and you're a football fanatic, you've already seen that the Kansas City Chiefs were in very compromising positions all season long. You can only point to maybe 1 or 2 games where they won that game. I'm telling you, Kansas City has looked beatable all season long. And I'll tell you, I don't think it's quarterback play. I think this is the perfect game to bring Jonathan Brooks back. I think this is a game that Dave Canellis needs to get very creative with his running game. Want to know how creative? Xavier Legette. Split in reverses. Xavier Legette going in motion. Fake the handoff, give it to Chuba. Make that over-pursuing Kansas City run defense, make them read. Because here's the reason. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is great. Now, you look at the numbers and you say, but you're looking at a Carolina Panthers defense that is near the bottom in passing yards given up. And then you look at a run defense that is equally as atrocious when it comes to yards given up per game, or yards given up in a game. But then you look at the top 10 of the Chiefs defense. But here's a lot of the reason why is because teams get crazy and they start thinking that they need to throw the football. And the Chiefs are giving up 3.6 yards a carry, which is that's pretty good when you think about defenses. And then you look at how many yards they give up in the air. And of course, a lot of that is because they're also teams are trying to slow them down. So the Chiefs are also in the middle of the road there. They're actually outside of the top 10. But the harsh truth is if you can go 3-6, 3-6, 3-6, which is the average they give up per rush, you're going to end up getting a first down. So I think ultimately what's got to happen is that the Carolina Panthers are going to have to stay with the run. They're going to have to stay with it and go play action pass against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs can honestly be put down. But unfortunately, if you give up you give up lots of time to Patrick Mahomes, he's going to shred you. But I think with the return of DJ Wanham is going to be a huge deal in this game. And I think ultimately what it's going to bring to the party is going to be something that the Carolina Panthers have been looking for all season, which is a legitimate pass rusher. And I think that is what they are going to get in Wanham. And as we've been looking, we've been trying to find certain players that are going to get things going. And what I'll tell you that I'm really loving is that Caleb Farley now brings an extra added boost to the rotation. You know, between Damani Richardson, we're going to see the return of Jordan Fuller possibly this week. We've got a lot of extra players in the secondary, which would not surprise me if we actually saw a lot of nickel and dime this week. And what I mean by that is, you know, you're already going to get 3 wide receivers, but I mean when you put somebody like, instead of Shaw Smith Wade, you're going to put in a Caleb Farley or Shamar Bartholomew or even a Damani Richardson, because these guys can tackle. And what happens is when you get coverage out there on Travis Kelce or possibly a speed guy like Xavier Worthy, you can control certain areas there, because I love what we have on the outside against Kansas City's group of guys. You got Mike Jackson, who is playing out of his mind. And of course, J.C. Horn has the lowest completion percentage of defensive backs in the entire National Football League. And what I love about what I'm seeing out of these guys is that they're not afraid to tee off one-on-one. Coach Avero is very comfortable with these. And what I'm seeing is we were giving Coach Avero a lot of heat. And I'm gonna tell you what was really great about what I'm seeing out of this offense, even though it was the Giants. Guys, we're starting to see this defense start to adjust efficiently. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, this is possibly going to be a beatdown. I don't think it's going to be a beatdown. I think J.C. Horn's going to lock down Nuke Hopkins. I think they double cover Xavier Worthy. And Juju Smith-Schuster probably ends up on Shaw Smith-Wade, and they bracket him. And then, of course, there's Travis Kelce. I think this is going to be an interesting football game, but I think Carolina's running game is going to be huge. I think it turns out that you're going to see Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be able, whether or not they're going to be able to read their cues and be able to do what they do. Now, Chris Jones is a disruptor, but the question is, how are the Panthers going to be able to neutralize him? Now, he hasn't been the force that we've seen as of late this year. He's only got 3 sacks, and he's got 13 tackles. So maybe Father Time is starting to catch up with him a little bit, or maybe he's just dialing it down, or maybe he's just kind of weaning in the bushes until they get into playoffs, or if they get into playoffs. But the way our offensive line's been playing, listen, we just had Dexter Lawrence, and look what we did. We just straight handled him. They handled him. I mean, it didn't even look like this was a guy that was even playing that day. I mean, it looked like it was, I mean, we knew Brian Burns was going to bring it, but a guy who was arguably going to be in the contention for Defensive Player of the Year didn't show up. And that was against Cade Mays. And I'm not disrespecting Cade Mays, but I love Christensen better at the center position. But guys, let me know what you think. Do you think the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young, I know I didn't talk a lot about the offense, but guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Bryce and the running game can do their thing against the Kansas City Chiefs? I do. Am I crazy? Or am I smelling the Kool-Aid yet again? I know the Chiefs lost, but there's a reason. And it ain't because of just Josh Allen. They were able to run the football. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. Guys, make sure you please comment down there your name. If you don't do anything else, put your name down there so I can take it down and get you guys hooked up. Also, go to the Facebook page at Growlin' and Prowlin'. And then also spin on over to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo. Find out the other things that I'm also involved in. But until the next time, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.